The stars had never seemed so cold. Captain Dahian stood on the observation deck of the orbital station, watching the alien ships appear one by one. They materialized from nothing, huge vessels that blocked out entire constellations. He counted 12 of them, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. His hands trembled slightly as he reached for the communication panel. This was it. The moment Earth had feared since humans first looked up at the night sky and wondered if they were alone. They were not alone. And now the others had come. The transmission arrived. Exactly 3 minutes after the alien fleet took position around Earth, Dahian listened as the translation software converted the alien sounds into words he could understand. The message was simple and terrifying. People of Earth, we are the Galactic Council. We speak for 12 civilizations that have ruled the stars for 10,000 years. You will submit to our authority. You have 3 choices. Become our subjects and pay tribute. Leave your world and accept relocation to colony planets. Or refuse and be destroyed. The alien voice was calm, almost bored. They had done this before. Many times before. Dahian immediately sent the transmission to Earth below, to Admiral Hai-Jin at Military Command, to President Tae-Sung at the Unified Government Headquarters, to every leader who needed to hear it. Within an hour, they were all connected on a secure channel. Dahian could see their faces on his screen. President Tae-Sung looked older than his 60 years. Admiral Hai-Jin's expression was stone, but her eyes betrayed her fear. How many ships? The president asked. 12 capital ships, Dahian reported. Each one is at least 3 kilometers long. We detected energy signatures we've never seen before. Their weapons could level cities from orbit. Can we fight them? President Tae-Sung looked at Admiral Hai-Jin. The admiral was quiet for a moment. Our entire defense fleet has 47 ships. Most of them are converted mining vessels and patrol craft. We have 6 proper warships, and even those are experimental. Against their technology. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. What about Project Prometheus? Someone asked. It was Dr. Ji Woo, Earth's chief weapons scientist. She appeared on another screen, calling in from the Antarctic Research Facility. Everyone fell silent. Project Prometheus was humanity's deepest secret. 50 years ago, an alien probe had crashed in the Pacific Ocean. The world governments had hidden it, studied it, and slowly learned to understand technology that was centuries beyond human capability. Project Prometheus has given us some advantages, Dr. Ji Woo said carefully. We have shield technology now, though it's not as good as what they probably have. We've developed new weapons based on what we learned. But we're talking about 50 years of research trying to catch up to civilizations that have been in space for thousands of years, so we can't win. President Tae-Sung said quietly. I didn't say that, Dr. Ji Woo replied. I said they're more advanced, but they don't know what we have. They think we're primitives who barely made it to our own moon. They don't know about Prometheus. They don't know we've been preparing for this. Admiral Hai-Jin leaned forward. You think we have a chance? I think we have surprises, Dr. Ji Woo said. Whether that's enough? I don't know. But if we submit now, we lose everything. Our freedom, our world, ourselves. President Tae-Sung looked around at all the faces on his screen. Military leaders, scientists, politicians, representatives from every nation on Earth. We need to decide. The Council is waiting for our answer. We should negotiate, one of the representatives said. Perhaps we can find better terms. Buy more time. They gave us 3 options, Dahian said from the orbital station. None of them involve negotiation. This is a demand, not a discussion. Then we're dead either way. another representative said, his voice breaking. If we fight, they destroy us. If we submit, we lose everything that makes us human. Ambassador Sunmi had been quiet until now. She was Earth's chief diplomat, a woman who had spent 30 years negotiating peace between nations. Now she spoke, and everyone listened. I have studied their message carefully, she said. They are confident. Too confident. They expect us to be afraid. They expect us to choose slavery over death, because that's what every other species has chosen. They have forgotten that some things are worth dying for. You're suggesting we refuse? President Taesung asked. I'm suggesting we remember who we are, Sunmi replied. Humans have faced extinction before. We've faced diseases, disasters, wars that should have ended us. We survived because we refused to give up, because we chose to fight even when fighting seemed hopeless. Admiral Haijin nodded slowly. If we're going to fight, we need to do it smart. We can't match them ship for ship, but we can make them pay for every inch of space. We can make them regret coming here. Dr. Ji Woo's face appeared larger on the screen. I can have the Prometheus weapons online in 72 hours. Every ship we have can be equipped with the new shields and weapons. It won't make us equal to them, but it will make us dangerous. President Taesung closed his eyes for a long moment. When he opened them, they were clear, decided. We take a vote. Everyone here represents the people of Earth. Do we submit to the Galactic Council, or do we refuse? The vote took less than 5 minutes. It was unanimous. President Taesung looked at Ambassador Sunmi. Send them our answer. Sunmi nodded. She composed herself, straightening her jacket. Then she opened a channel to the alien fleet. Her voice was steady, clear, and absolutely certain. This is Ambassador Sunmi of Earth, speaking for all humanity. We have received your ultimatum. We have considered your demands. Our answer is no. Earth will not submit. We will not abandon our world. We will not bow to you or any power that seeks to enslave us. If you want our world, you will have to take it. And we will make you pay in blood for every attempt. There was silence on the channel for a moment. Then the alien voice returned, and for the first time, it sounded surprised. You refuse? We refuse, Sunmi repeated. Leave our system now, or face the consequences. The transmission ended. On the observation deck, Captain Daehyun watched the alien ships. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the vessels began to move. Not away, but closer. Taking attack positions, Daehyun activated the station-wide alert. Red lights flashed through the corridors. Alarms sounded. All across Earth's orbital defenses, crews rushed to battle stations. The war had begun. The alien ships came at dawn. Commander Jinho watched them approach on his tactical display, 40 warships breaking away from the main fleet. They moved with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. All ships, this is Commander Jinho. He spoke into the fleet-wide channel. Hold your positions. Wait for my signal. He commanded Earth's defense fleet from the bridge of the Defiant, humanity's first true warship. Around him, 23 other vessels held formation near the moon. They were miners, haulers, converted civilian ships, and 6 experimental military craft. Against 40 alien warships, they looked like toys. Jinho's second officer, Lieutenant Hana, stood beside him. Sir, they're charging weapons. Energy signatures are off the scale. I see them, Jinho said calmly. His hands gripped the command chair. Activate Prometheus shields. All vessels. Across the fleet, invisible barriers flickered to life around each ship. The technology was barely understood, reverse-engineered from alien systems that humanity had studied for decades. The shields had worked in tests. But they had never faced real alien weapons. The Council ships opened fire. Beams of superheated plasma screamed across space, bright enough to blind unprotected eyes. They struck the lead human vessels with enough force to vaporize metal. The shields flared brilliant blue, absorbing the impact. The ships shook violently, but they held. Shields at 60%. Hannah reported, her voice tight with stress. They're holding. On the Council flagship, the alien commander stared at his displays in confusion. The primitive vessels should have been destroyed instantly. Instead, they remained intact, their defensive systems somehow deflecting weapons that had broken planetary fortifications. Increase power, the alien commander ordered. Destroy them. Jinho watched the second barrage incoming. Return fire. All weapons. Target their lead ships. Fire at will. The human fleet opened up with everything they had. But they didn't use energy weapons like the Council expected. Instead, metal slugs accelerated to impossible speeds by magnetic railguns tore across space. Nuclear-tipped missiles launched in swarms, each one guided by independent AI that made them unpredictable. Laser batteries pumped by nuclear explosions cut invisible lines of destruction toward alien hulls. The Council ships had shields, designed to deflect energy weapons and plasma. They were not designed for solid metal traveling at relativistic speeds. The railgun slugs punched through defensive barriers like paper, tearing into alien hulls. Explosions blossomed across 3 Council ships as their shields failed to stop the kinetic barrage. One alien vessel lost power, tumbling dead in space. Another's hull breached, venting atmosphere and debris. A third took a nuclear missile directly to its engine section and simply ceased to exist in a flash of white light. Direct hits. Hannah shouted. 3 enemy vessels destroyed or disabled. But the Council fleet was learning. They adjusted their shields, reinforcing against physical projectiles. Their return fire intensified. A human mining ship took a direct hit, its improvised shields failing. The vessel broke apart, its crew of 47 dying instantly. Jinho felt each loss like a knife to his chest, but he couldn't stop now. Fighter wings, launch now. Getting close where their big guns can't track you. From the Defiant and 5 other carriers, small fighter craft erupted into space. Lieutenant Minna led her squadron directly into the teeth of the alien formation. Her fighter was tiny, fast, and armed with missiles designed for one purpose, killing ships much larger than herself. This is Red Leader, Minna's voice crackled over the comm. We're going in. Stay tight, people. Her squadron dove toward the Council ships, weaving between plasma blasts that could vaporize them with a single hit. The aliens tried to target them, but the small fighters were too fast, too agile. Minna's tactical computer painted targets on her display, and she fired. Missiles streaked from her fighter, each one equipped with penetrator warheads designed to burrow deep before exploding. They struck an alien cruiser's weakest points, the places where engines met hull, where shield generators created tiny gaps in coverage. Explosions rippled across the alien vessel's surface. Hull breach confirmed. One of her squadron mates yelled. Their shields are down in Section 4. All fighters, concentrate fire on that cruiser. Men are ordered. Pour everything into that breach. Dozens of fighters swarmed the wounded vessel like angry insects. Missiles and railgun fire tore into the exposed sections. The alien cruiser tried to maneuver, but it was too slow. A massive explosion tore through its center, and the ship broke in half. But the victory cost them. Alien point defense systems were adapting, learning to track the small human fighters. Minna watched in horror as 3 of her squadron mates were hit, their fighters vaporizing in an instant. Red 3 is gone. Red 7 is hit. The voices on the comm were panicked now. Stay focused. Min snapped, even as her own hands shook. We make every shot count. For Earth. Back on the Defiant, Jin-Ho coordinated the battle. 2 more human ships were destroyed, their crews lost. But they were taking the alien fleet apart piece by piece. The Council commander had expected an easy victory. Instead, he was watching his formation crumble. Sir, enemy fleet is breaking formation, Hana reported. They're trying to retreat. Don't let them, Jin-Ho ordered. All ships, pursue and destroy. We can't let them report back how we fought them. The human fleet surged forward. The Council ships, designed for overwhelming weaker enemies, found themselves hunted by vessels that refused to fight by the expected rules. More alien ships fell, their hulls torn open by weapons they had dismissed as primitive. When it was over, 30 of the 40 Council ships were destroyed or crippled beyond repair. The remaining 10 fled back to their main fleet, broadcasting emergency signals. Jin-Ho's fleet had been cut in half. 12 ships destroyed, hundreds of crew members dead. The survivors were damaged, shields depleted, ammunition running low. But they had won. Lieutenant Minnie limped back to the Defiant in her damaged fighter. When she climbed out of the cockpit, her hands were still shaking. The deck crew stared at her in awe. She had survived what should have been a suicide mission. How many did we lose? She asked quietly. Too many, one of the crew members replied. But we won, Lieutenant. We actually won. Minna looked out the hangar bay at the debris field where the battle had taken place. Pieces of alien ships mixed with human wreckage. A graveyard of the first battle between Earth and the Galactic Council. On Earth, billions watched the recordings of the battle. They saw their ships stand against impossible odds. They saw their people refuse to surrender. And they understood that this war was just beginning. In the Council's command ship, the alien leaders gathered in emergency session. For the first time in 3,000 years, they had been defeated in battle. The species they had dismissed as primitives had bloodied them. How is this possible? One of them demanded. They have technology we didn't expect, the fleet commander reported. Their tactics are unconventional. They don't fight like any species we've encountered. Then we will adapt, another council member said. We will send more ships. We will crush them. But for the first time in millennia, there was doubt in the room. Earth had proven it could fight back. The question now was, could the Council afford to continue this war? On the Defiant, Commander Jin-Ho addressed his crew. We won today, but this was just the first battle. They'll come back with more ships, better prepared. We need to be ready. Earth is counting on us. The crew saluted. They were exhausted, traumatized, and afraid. But they were also something else, victorious. Earth had drawn first, blood against the Galactic Council, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council sent 300 ships. They called it the Third Armada, a force that had conquered entire star systems. They arrived in Earth's solar system like a storm of metal and fury, determined to make humanity pay for the humiliation. Of their first defeat, General Sung-Ho watched their approach from deep. Beneath the ruins of Seoul, the underground command center had become Earth's war room, protected by hundreds of meters of rock and concrete. On the massive display screens, he could see every alien vessel, every weapon platform, every threat to humanity's survival. They're not making the same mistake twice, his tactical officer reported. They're staying in tight formation. Their shields are overlapping. They're being careful. Sung-Ho nodded. The Council had learned from their defeat. They would not be so easy to hurt this time. Then we adapt. We make them fight on our terms, not theirs. Activate Operation Ghost. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses came to life. Asteroid mining facilities that looked abandoned suddenly powered up weapon systems. Satellites that appeared to be simple communication relays revealed themselves as missile platforms. And in the darkness between planets, hundreds of small vessels waited in silence, their engines cold, invisible to alien sensors. The Council fleet advanced toward Earth, confident in their overwhelming numbers. They would bombard the planet from orbit, destroy the human fleet, and end this rebellion once and for all. Then the asteroids started shooting. Railgun. Fire erupted from 36 hidden positions throughout the asteroid belt. Solid slugs moving at tremendous speed slammed into the outer edge of the Council formation. Shields flared and failed. 2 alien ships were disabled before they even knew they were under attack. Enemy contacts in the asteroid field. The Council tactical officer reported. Multiple weapon platforms. Destroy them, the Council admiral ordered. But finding targets among millions of asteroids was nearly impossible. The human platforms fired, moved, and went silent again. The Council ships blasted empty space while the real threats relocated and prepared to fire again. Then the Horizon missiles arrived. Engineer Kyung-soo had spent 6 months designing them. Self-replicating drones equipped with basic AI, they could hunt independently for weeks. Each one was small, hard to detect, and carried enough explosive power to cripple a warship. Humanity had seeded thousands of them throughout the solar system. They swarmed the Council fleet like locusts. Alien point defense systems shot down hundreds, but for every missile destroyed, 3 more got through. Explosions rippled across the Council formation. Ships took damage, their shields overwhelmed by the sheer number of impacts. But the Council pressed forward. They had expected resistance. They had the numbers to absorb losses and continue. 300 ships was more than enough to crush one primitive planet. Sergeant B.O. Ram and her boarding team struck next. They had captured a small Council supply vessel 3 weeks ago, learning its identification codes and procedures. Now, dressed in stolen equipment and broadcasting the captured signals, their small ship approached the Council fleet. Supply vessel Delta 7 requesting permission to dock, B.O. Ram transmitted, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Permission granted, came the automated response. Proceed to supply ship Eternal Bounty. B.O. Ram's team of 12 soldiers had trained for this moment. They docked with the Council supply ship, moving quickly through the airlock. The alien crew barely noticed them, too busy managing the logistics of a fleet at war. It took B.O. Ram's team 17 minutes to reach the ship's computer core. Her technical specialist, a young soldier named Tae-min, plugged into the alien systems with a device Dr. Ji Woo had designed. It bypassed security and began copying data at incredible speed. We've got it, Tae-min whispered. Fleet communication protocols, supply routes, and ... Wait. This is important. What? B.O. Ram asked, her weapon ready, watching the corridor for any sign of alarm. Their command network. All the ships communicate through a central hub on the flagship. If we could disrupt that. He didn't finish, but B.O. Ram understood. A single point of failure in a fleet of 300 ships. Copy everything, she ordered. We're leaving in 2 minutes. They almost made it. An alien security patrol spotted them as they returned to their ship. The firefight was brief and brutal. One of B.O. Ram's team members went down, but they managed to seal the airlock and disconnect. Their stolen supply ship burned its engines hard, fleeing into the asteroid field before the Council could respond. B.O. Ram held her wounded teammate as their medic worked frantically. Stay with us, she said softly. You did good. Earth needs what we found. The intelligence reached General Sung Ho within hours. He studied it carefully, then contacted Dr. Yong-ji, Earth's best xenotechnologist. Can you exploit this? he asked, showing her the data on the Council's command network. Dr. Yeonji was silent for a long moment, her eyes scanning through alien code. Then she smiled, and it was not a kind smile. Yes, give me time, and I can turn their greatest strength into their greatest weakness. The siege continued. Months passed. The Council fleet methodically destroyed Earth's outer defenses. Mars' colony went dark after a bombardment that left its dome shattered. Europa's underwater bases were eliminated by kinetic strikes. The Council was grinding humanity down, one position at a time, but every victory cost them. Hidden weapon platforms took their toll. Horizon missiles continued their hunt, destroying ships when crews grew tired and made mistakes. Human fighters launched from hidden bases, struck fast, and disappeared into the dark. The Council had come with 300 ships. After 4 months, they had 240 still operational. After 6 months, fewer than 200. Their supply lines were harassed constantly. Their crews were exhausted. Some began to question if conquering Earth was worth this price. On Earth itself, cities suffered bombardment. Toronto was hit, killing thousands. Mumbai's orbital elevator was destroyed, its collapse causing massive casualties. But Earth refused to surrender. Every attack was answered with defiance. Every loss was met with renewed determination. Commander Jinho's fleet was down to 15 ships, but they fought like demons. They knew every hiding spot in the solar system, every piece of debris that could provide cover. They struck when the Council least expected it, always retreating before the enemy could mass their forces for a decisive blow. Lieutenant Minna had become Earth's most famous fighter pilot. She had survived 37 combat missions, her fighter bearing the scars of countless near misses. Children on Earth painted her squadron's emblem on walls, a symbol of hope in desperate times. The Council admiral in charge of the siege sent a message to his superiors. We will win eventually, but the cost is higher than anticipated. Every week we lose ships. Our crews are demoralized. These humans fight like nothing we've encountered. They don't know when they're beaten. The Council's response was simple. Finish it. Use the dreadnoughts. 5 massive warships, each one capable of cracking a planet's crust, moved toward Earth. They were the Council's ultimate weapons, held in reserve until now. With them, the siege would end. Earth would fall. General Sunho watched them approach. He knew what those ships could do. Earth's defenses couldn't stop them. But Dr. Yeonji was almost ready. Her virus was nearly complete. How long? He asked her. 72 hours, she replied. I need 72 hours. Sunho looked at the approaching dreadnoughts. They would reach Earth in 70 hours. You'll have it. Somehow, you'll have it. He activated the fleet-wide channel. All units, this is General Sunho. The enemy is bringing their biggest weapons. For the next 3 days, we do whatever it takes to slow them down. Every hour we buy might be the difference between victory and extinction. Earth is counting on us. Our families are counting on us. Do not let them down. Across the solar system, humanity's remaining forces prepared for the fight of their lives. Damaged ships were patched with whatever materials were available. Weapons were loaded. Crews said quiet prayers and checked pictures of loved ones. The siege was about to reach its crucial moment. Either Earth would find a way to stop the dreadnoughts, or everything humanity had fought for would end in fire. Captain Ji-sung studied the display showing the Council flagship Eternal Dominion. The massive vessel sat at the center of the enemy fleet, protected by dozens of warships. It was the most heavily defended target in the solar system, and he had to get inside it. This is suicide, pilot Dong Hyeon said quietly. He wasn't complaining, just stating a fact. Even if we make it past their patrols, even if we dock without being detected, we'll never make it back. Probably not, Jae-sung agreed. Anyone want to back out? No shame in it. Nobody moved. The 5-person crew of the stealth ship Shadow had volunteered for this mission, knowing the odds. They were humanity's last chance to stop the dreadnoughts before they reached Earth. Combat specialist Hay-1 checked her weapons for the 3rd time. I didn't come this far to watch Earth burn from a distance. Let's do this. Communications officer So Young looked up from her station. Dr. Yuan-ji confirms the virus is ready. Once I plug into their command network, it'll take approximately 4 minutes to upload. During that time, we'll be completely exposed. 4 minutes, Jae-sung repeated. We can last 4 minutes. Dong Hyeon didn't look convinced, but he started the pre-flight sequence anyway. Shadow engines are cold. Stealth systems online. We're invisible to their sensors, but the second we fire up the main drive, they'll know we're here. Then we don't use the main drive until we have to, Jae-sung said. Maneuvering thrusters only. We drift in like debris. The Shadow was Earth's most advanced stealth vessel, built using technology from Project Prometheus and improved by human innovation. Its hull absorbed scanner beams instead of reflecting them. Its thermal signature was almost 0. On paper, it was nearly invisible. But nearly invisible wasn't the same as completely invisible. And they were about to test it against the most sophisticated sensors in the galaxy. The journey to the Council flagship took 3 hours of nerve-wracking silence. They drifted on momentum, occasionally firing small thrusters to adjust course. Around them, Council patrol ships passed within kilometers, close enough to see the Shadow visually if anyone looked in the right direction. Nobody did. I can't believe this is working. Hay-1 whispered. Don't jinx it, Dong Hyeon muttered. They approached the Eternal Dominion from below, where its massive engines created sensor interference. Ji-sung had studied the ship's layout for weeks, memorizing every detail from the intelligence Sergeant B. Oram's team had stolen. There, he pointed at a service airlock on the underside of the hull. Crew shift change happens in 15 minutes. During the changeover, security systems cycle off for 30 seconds. That's our window. 30 seconds to dock and get inside before they realize we're here, So Young said. Piece of cake. They waited, watching the chronometer count down. Jae-sung's heart pounded. He thought about his family on Earth, about everyone counting on them to succeed. He thought about the dreadnoughts approaching, weapons that could end human civilization. 10 seconds, Dong Hyeon announced. 5, 3, 2, 1, go. The Shadow S engines flared to life. They surged forward, covering the last 100 meters in seconds. Dong Hyeon's piloting was perfect, matching the flagship's rotation and slamming into the airlock with a hard clang. Alarms immediately started screaming throughout the Council ship. They know we're here. So Young yelled, move. Ji-sung ordered. The airlock cycled open. They rushed into the Council ship, weapons ready. Hay-1 went first, her rifle sweeping for targets. The corridor beyond was empty, but they could hear running footsteps approaching. This way. Jae-sung led them deeper into the ship, following the route he had memorized. Command network access is 3 decks up, Section 12. They ran through corridors built for creatures larger than humans. Everything was wrong, the proportions strange, the air tasting odd. Behind them, alien security forces were mobilizing. The first contact came at a junction. 3 alien guards appeared, weapons raised. Hay-1 didn't hesitate. She fired, her modified rifle using armor-piercing rounds designed to punch through alien defensive gear. 2 guards went down. The 3rd returned fire, and the corridor lit up with energy blasts. Keep moving, Ji-sung shouted. They fought through 2 more groups of guards. Hay-1 took a glancing hit that burned across her shoulder, but she ignored it, staying focused on clearing their path. They reached a lift that would take them to the right level. Security override. So Young worked frantically at the controls. Give me 30 seconds. We don't have 30 seconds. Dong Hyan fired down the corridor at approaching guards. So Young's fingers flew over the alien interface. She had studied council systems for months, learned their language, understood their logic. 20 seconds. The lift door refused to open. 15 seconds. Guards were getting closer. 10 seconds. The door opened. They piled into the lift. Dong Hyan threw a grenade back into the corridor as the door closed. The explosion shook the lift, but they were already moving up. 3 decks, Jae-sung said. So Young, you know what to do? I plug into the command network terminal. Upload Dr. Yeonji's virus. 4 minutes. Easy. She tried to smile, but her hands were shaking. The lift door opened onto a nightmare. A dozen guards were waiting, weapons ready. They had guessed where the intruders were going. What followed was the most intense firefight of their lives. Hae-won went into full combat mode, her training taking over. She moved like water, always shooting, always in motion. Jae-sung and Dong Hyan provided covering fire. The alien guards fell, but there were so many of them. Go! Hae-won screamed at So Young. I'll hold them. So Young ran. The command network terminal was just ahead, a glowing pillar of technology at the end of a long corridor. She reached it, pulled out the interface device Dr. Yeonji had given her, and plugged in. Upload starting. She called back. 4 minutes. Behind her, the firefight raged. Dong Hyan went down, hit in the leg. Ji-sung dragged him to cover, returning fire with one hand. Hae-won was everywhere at once, her rifle blazing, keeping the guards from overwhelming their position. 3 minutes. So Young announced, watching the progress bar crawl forward with agonizing slowness. More guards arrived. They were bringing heavier weapons now. Hae-won's rifle ran dry. She switched to her sidearm, still firing, still buying time. 2 minutes. A plasma blast hit the wall next to Jae-sung, showering him with molten metal. He felt burns across his face, but kept shooting. They had come too far to fail now. 1 minute. The guards brought up a heavy weapon, something that looked like it could blow through their cover. Hae-won saw it, understood what it meant. She looked back at So Young, at the terminal, at how close they were. She made her choice. Hae-won charged. She ran straight at the heavy weapon team, firing as she went. She took 3 hits, 4, but she didn't stop. She reached the weapon and shoved it upward just as it fired. The blast tore through the ceiling instead of killing her friends. Then she fell and didn't get up. 30 seconds. So Young's voice was breaking. She had seen what Hae-won did. Ji-sung and Dong Hyan poured everything they had into keeping the guards back. Their ammunition was almost gone. Dong Han was bleeding badly from his leg wound. 10 seconds. The progress bar reached 100%. So Young yanked the interface device free. It's done. The virus is in their system. Then we're leaving. Ji-sung pulled Dong Hyan to his feet. Now. They ran, leaving Hae-won's body behind. It hurt more than any wound, but there was no time. Guards were everywhere now. They fought their way back, losing ground with every step. They never made it to the shadow. More guards cut them off, forced them into a side corridor. Trapped, surrounded, out of ammunition. Jae-sung held Dong Hyan up, helping So Young stand. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I'm sorry I got you killed. Don't be, So Young replied. We did it. The virus is uploading. Look. Through a viewport, they could see the council ships. Their lights were flickering. Systems were failing across the fleet. The virus was spreading through the command network like wildfire, exactly as Dr. Yeonji had designed. The dreadnoughts stopped moving, their engines dying. Across the fleet, weapon systems went offline. Navigation computers crashed. The Council's careful coordination dissolved into chaos. "We won," Dong Hyeon said, his voice weak from blood loss. "We actually won." The guards reached them. Ji Sung expected death. Instead, the aliens simply stood there, their weapons lowering. Their entire fleet was crippled. They had lost. General Sung-ho watched from Earth as the Council fleet fell apart. Admiral Hai-jin immediately launched the counterattack. Every human ship still capable of fighting surged forward, targeting the helpless Council vessels. The Battle of the Asteroid Belt lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the Council's third armada was destroyed. Only 80 ships escaped, limping away at sublight speed, their faster-than-light drives dead. 3 days later, Ji Sung and his surviving crew members were recovered by human forces. They were treated as heroes, but Jae Sung only thought about Haewon, who had never come home. Earth had won its greatest victory. But the cost was written in blood. The Galactic Council chambers had stood for 5,000 years, a monument to civilizations that had conquered the stars. Now, for the first time in memory, those chambers echoed with the sound of argument and fear. Ambassador Sunmi stood in the center of the Great Hall, surrounded by representatives from 12 alien civilizations. Some looked at her with hatred, others with fear, a few with something that might have been respect. "You have destroyed our third armada," the council speaker said. Its voice was translated into words Sunmi could understand, but the anger needed no translation. 300 ships, thousands of crew members, centuries of construction and development, gone. "You attacked us," Sunmi replied calmly. "We defended ourselves. What did you expect? We expected you to surrender." Another council member shouted, "Every species surrenders. It is the natural order. The strong rule, the weak submit." "Then perhaps your natural order needed to change," Sunmi said. "You came to Earth with demands, not with respect. You offered slavery or death. Did you truly expect us to choose either?" The chambers erupted in argument. Some council members called for immediate retaliation, for world-killer weapons to be deployed against Earth. Others argued that another military campaign would be suicide. The humans had proven too dangerous, too unpredictable. Enough! The council speaker's voice cut through the chaos. "Ambassador Sunmi, your people have won their war, but at what cost? Your planet is scarred. Your cities lie in ruins. Millions of your people are dead. Was this victory worth the price?" Sunmi felt the weight of every loss, every sacrifice. She thought of the cities that had burned, the soldiers who had died, the families torn apart. Then she thought of what would have happened if Earth had surrendered. "Yes," she said simply. "Freedom is always worth the price." The council speaker was silent for a long moment. "We have never encountered a species like yours. Most civilizations, when faced with our power, make the rational choice. They submit. They survive. They prosper under our rule. You chose war instead." "We chose freedom instead," Sunmi corrected. "You call it irrational. We call it being human." On Earth, President Tae-zoom addressed the world from the rebuilt government complex. The building had been destroyed in a council bombardment 5 months ago. Now it stood again, repaired and reinforced, a symbol of humanity's refusal to stay down. "People of Earth," he spoke to billions watching across the planet and throughout the colonies. "The war is over. The Galactic Council has agreed to terms. Earth will remain free and independent. We will never bow to anyone." The celebrations could be heard from space. Every city, every town, Every surviving settlement erupted in joy. They had won. Against impossible odds, against enemies with technology centuries beyond their own, humanity had won. But Taesung's expression remained solemn. We must also remember the cost. 40 million of our people died in this war. Our friends, our families, our children. Cities were destroyed. Colonies were lost. We paid for our freedom in blood. He paused, letting the reality of that sink in. The celebrations quieted somewhat. Everyone had lost someone. We honor them by living free, Taesung continued, by building a future worthy of their sacrifice, and by ensuring that Earth will never be vulnerable again. In the orbital shipyards above Earth, construction had already begun. General Sung-ho oversaw the military expansion, coordinating with Admiral Hai-jin and the surviving fleet commanders. They were building new ships, bigger and better than before. They were establishing permanent defense networks throughout the solar system. We got lucky, Sung-ho said to Hai-jin as they reviewed the plans. The Council underestimated us, made mistakes, learned too slowly. The next enemy might not be so careless. Then we'll be ready, Hai-jin replied. We'll be stronger. The Council taught us how to fight a real war. We won't forget those lessons. Commander Jin-ho walked through the memorial being constructed in orbit. 40 million names were being etched into metal panels, creating a ring around Earth that would shine in the sunlight. Every person who died in the war would be remembered forever. He found the names of his crew members who hadn't survived. He touched each one, remembering their faces, their voices, their courage. They had been miners, engineers, civilians who became warriors because they had to. They had died so Earth could be free. Lieutenant Minna visited schools now, talking to children about the war. She told them about courage, about sacrifice, about the importance of defending what you believe in. The children looked at her with wide eyes, seeing a hero. She felt like a survivor who got lucky too many times. Were you scared? A small girl asked her. Every single time, Minna answered honestly. Being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means doing what needs to be done, even when you're terrified. Dr. Ji Woo and Dr. Yeon-ji led Earth's new department of xenotechnology. They studied captured council technology, learning, adapting, improving. Humanity was still behind in many ways, but they were catching up fast. And they had the advantage of thinking differently, of not being bound by thousands of years of conventional thinking. Look at this, Yeon-ji showed Ji Woo a design. Council ships are built for power and durability. Ours can be faster, more maneuverable. We can't match their shields yet, but we can avoid being hit in the first place. Different approach, different advantages, Ji Woo agreed. The Council builds weapons, assuming everyone fights like them. We need to keep surprising them. In the Council chambers, the debate continued for weeks. Finally, a decision was reached. A decision that would change the galaxy forever. Ambassador Sun Nai received the formal communication. When she read it, she had to read it twice to believe it. She returned to the Council chambers. This time, the atmosphere was different. Less hostile, more uncertain. The Galactic Council has decided, the speaker announced. We recognize Earth as a free and sovereign world. No tribute will be demanded. No submission required. Sunmi nodded, but she sensed there was more. Furthermore, the speaker continued, and now there was something in its voice that might have been reluctance. We offer Earth a seat on this council. As equals, the first species to join not through conquest, but through demonstrated strength. The other council members looked uncomfortable. This had clearly been a contentious decision, but they had made it. They were adapting, just as humanity had adapted during the war. Earth accepts, Sunmi said. on the condition that we maintain complete sovereignty and the right to defend ourselves as we see fit. Agreed, the speaker said. Welcome to the Galactic Council, Ambassador Sunmi. The galaxy will be watching to see what humanity does next. Back on Earth, Sergeant Bao-Ram recovered from her wounds in a military hospital. Her arm would never work quite right again, damaged in the fighting aboard the Council supply ship. She didn't care. They had won. The intelligence her team had stolen had made the final victory possible. What will you do now? The doctor asked her. Go back to duty, Bao-Ram replied. There's more work to do. We need to make sure this never happens again. Captain Jae-sung received the Star of Terra, Earth's highest military honor. President Tae-sung himself pinned it to his uniform in a ceremony attended by millions. For extraordinary courage and sacrifice beyond the call of duty, Tae-sung said. Captain Jae-sung and his crew penetrated enemy defenses and delivered the weapon that won the war. Ji-sung accepted the honor, but when he spoke, his voice was quiet. I accept this for my crew, for Hae-won, who gave her life so we could complete the mission, for Dong-Hyeon and So-young, who survived what should have killed us all. This victory belongs to them. The audience stood in respect. They understood. Every hero was built on the sacrifice of others. Every victory came at a cost. As Earth entered its new era, humanity looked to the stars with different eyes. They were no longer alone, no longer wondering if anyone was out there. They knew. And they knew that the galaxy could be dangerous, but they also knew they could fight. They could survive. They could win. General Soon-ho stood in the new command center, watching the solar defense network come online. Weapon platforms, shield generators, early warning systems. Earth would never be caught unprepared again. We changed the galaxy, Admiral Hai-jin said, standing beside him. No one had ever defeated the Council before. We showed other species that it's possible to say no. We did more than that, Soon-ho replied. We proved that being powerful doesn't give you the right to rule others. That freedom is worth fighting for. That humanity will never bow, no matter the cost. Across the galaxy, other species watched Earth's story unfold. Some saw inspiration, the possibility that they too could resist the Council's authority. Others saw a threat, a dangerous new power that didn't follow the rules. All of them knew that the galaxy had changed. Earth had refused to bow. And in doing so, had shocked not just the Galactic Council, but every civilization that thought they knew how the universe worked. The war was over. But humanity's journey among the stars had just begun. And the galaxy would never underestimate Earth again.